My name is Patricia Holden. I'm a professor at the Brin School of Environmental Science and Management at UCSB, University of California, Santa Barbara. I'm also the director of the Natural Reserve System at UCSB. We manage lots of field sites for undergraduates, graduates, and all stages of researchers to study the natural world. Within the CEIN, I am the leader of Theme 4, which regards understanding the hazards of engineered nanomaterials to terrestrial environments and all types of organisms that inhabit terrestrial environments and the full suite of processes that occur on lands, including agricultural processes. And I've been affiliated with the CEIN since its beginning and have been studying the effects of engineered nanomaterials on bacteria since a few years prior to the initiation of the CEIN. So it turns out that nanomaterials, as we've seen within the modeling work within the CEIN and as we've read about the broader concerns for engineered nanomaterials accumulating in the environment, it turns out that a big destination could be lands. And it's lands and the soils and the plants that grow in the soils that sustain a lot of our life on Earth. It's a major part of the biosphere. And in our research, we're studying all different types of life forms that inhabit terrestrial environments, so the soil environment, bacteria, and then all the way up to plants that grow and feed us. The important things that we need to understand are how do engineered nanomaterials affect major ecosystem processes, including nitrogen cycling, carbon cycling. For example, when we study agricultural plants, one of the important roles that bacteria perform in concert with plants is to fix nitrogen out of the atmosphere, to make it bioavailable, to make it available as a fertilizer to plants. And so this is a natural way that plants kind of self-fertilize. But we've learned that nanomaterials might be able to interfere with that. And so within our theme, within the broader context of studying nanomaterials in lands, this is the sort of question that is really important for us to understand. So one of the big questions has been, how is it that titanium dioxide nanoparticles added to soil can actually change soil microbial communities? That is, what bacterial populations are there? And as we had reported before, it turned out that titanium dioxide and some of the other really common metal oxides will decrease the numbers of different populations, decrease biodiversity of bacteria in soil. And so then we asked, well, how could that be? Because it could be that they're directly affecting the bacteria, coming in direct contact, or it's indirect. So one of our recent studies, we simply asked, how is it that titanium dioxide could become bioavailable to bacteria in the complex matrix of soil? And we found that it appears it becomes hydrophobic when it's added to soil. Very simple finding, but really important and hadn't been shown before. Well, what hydrophobicity means is that the particle has acquired probably some kind of coating that makes it repel water. So it would tend to associate with organic matter, or it might tend to associate with lipids, say, around a cell membrane. And so when a particle becomes relatively hydrophobic, that means that it has a tendency to be in compartments that are more close or proximate to the bacteria, the receptors of those particles that can then become intoxicated by them. Well, when we think about the Earth and everything that we derive from the Earth, in ecology, people talk about ecosystem services, and these are broad services that the environment provides for our benefit, and we can quantify the economic value of those, but then we can just talk about how valuable we know they are. For example, the provision of food, we really need our food to be healthful and to be free of contaminants. And so part of what we learn collaboratively within the CEIN, not just within Theme 4, but our group works a lot with other researchers across the CEIN collaboratively to learn if nanomaterials are taken up into plants, if they go into the edible portion of the plant and what quantities, and if they stay as intact nanoparticles. That helps us to understand if the food supply is safe over the long term. So that's a big societal benefit. And then broadly, we want to be able to influence the safe design of nanomaterials. And the more we can learn about how they interact with cells, all the way up to entire ecosystem levels, we can inform the overall safe design and evolution of an entire industry. And that's the broader, huge societal benefit that will enable us all to really appreciate and become enhanced by nanotechnology. I'm originally an engineer, so my undergraduate education and my initial graduate education and my professional experience is all in engineering, environmental engineering. And what inspired me to go the direction of science in general was that I was seeing from an engineering design standpoint that we lacked some of the scientific underpinnings to our engineering solutions, and I wanted to be helpful in informing some of those engineering solutions. And it was a great decision. I love science. The whole process of formulating questions, identifying where the gaps in knowledge are, and then trying to answer those questions and fill those gaps is a wonderful, wonderful thing to be able to do. In terms of getting into studying nanomaterials and soil, well, I did my PhD in soil microbiology. And then getting into studying nanotechnology and the environment was sort of an accident. I had a very good friend who connected me with my first collaborator in this area. And through working with that first collaborator, we were able to acquire some funding. And that sort of started this whole interest and excitement for how do nanomaterials, in that case, quantum dots, affect bacteria and vice versa. It's such a rich area of research. We hope to be able to work in it for a long time to come. I grew up in East Tennessee, in Oak Ridge, in Knoxville, which is at the base of the Smoky Mountains, and it's a very, very beautiful part of the country. And I think I was inspired to think about the natural world and the beauty of the natural world and sort of how humans interact with it because of growing up there. We used to do a lot of hiking, and my mom took me to the Arboretum, beautiful trees and flowers, and I also knew a lot of scientists, and so growing up to be a scientist wasn't such a strange thing because at least in Oak Ridge we were surrounded by scientists. Everybody's parents were scientists, so it wasn't such an odd thing.